In this episode of MotoringBox, we're taking the AU Fairmont Turbo drag racing. Let's go.
You're watching MotoringBox, proudly supported by Century Batteries.
Now, if I'm honest with you, I'm always nervous when I come to the drags. This is the second time ever. First time was in my Magna Rally Art. I did a 15.3. Tonight with the AU Fairmont Turbo, I'm kind of hoping we get in the 14s. This car standard, I think Ford quoted 16.5 seconds. If you look at a BA XR6 Turbo, which is kind of what this is hopefully equivalent to, it was in the mid 14s to low 14s. So if we can get anywhere in the 14s, look, I'm going to be happy with that. First run, we're going to take it easy just because, this car has not been dyno tuned. I've tuned it myself. I just want to keep an eye on the boost target and make sure it's all happy. And then we can step it up from there. So we're just about to kick off here. Helmet's got to go on. And fingers crossed we can drive home at the end of the night. So with the racing tonight, you don't need a lightning quick reaction time. In fact, you can sit on the tree as long as you want. The time starts as soon as you trip the beam, as soon as you go. So you kind of are racing each other, but at the same time, you don't really have to. You're kind of racing the clock. And that's what I'm interested in the most. I'm up against a very loud Tirana. So yeah, you're not really racing each other. It is a test and tune, and I am here literally for the testing and the tuning. All right, here we go. I didn't really see what happened to that guy, but he actually hit one of the center markers. To be honest, with the helmet, I couldn't really tell how it shifted, but it felt okay. I'll have to look at the dash recording, play it back and see what throttle percentage, but I did actually hold 100 for a while there. I'll have to see. I was kind of just judging it. But look, good first run. I tell you what, lining up beside a car like that made this thing feel so slow, it is ridiculous. So let's grab our slip and see what it did. Hi, thank you. 16.1. I'm guessing that guy went too fast. I definitely should have just left it in third gear so it could shift by itself. There's a bit of hesitation off the line too, so I'm not really sure what happened there. Look, we'll just go try again. So, gonna leave it in third this time. Let the auto hopefully do its thing. Yeah, fingers crossed it builds boost a bit faster this time. I don't know what was causing it last time. Okay, much better. Still took forever to build boost on the line though, I'm not sure why. The interesting thing about it, right, is on the previous slip, we did like an 8.5 second 0 to 100. On the street, I've got footage of me doing that in the low 6s. So I don't know what it is that's causing this thing to build boost really slowly. Okay, we got a 15.2. So we've knocked off a whole second. But there should be more in it than that. I don't know why it's failing to build boost very quick. Why is it such a pig off the line? I don't know. I've just had a look and really, I can't really spot any issues with the tune. I have a feeling that we're running into my abilities as a tuner. It could be that my ignition map on boost is a bit conservative. It could be the little correction for the VCT that I've set up. Perhaps it's pulling too much timing. But we're kind of half a second off to sort of 2/3 or 3/4 of a second off where a stock BA turbo sits. So to get that close already, I am pretty happy, but I reckon there's more on the table. So even though it's slower than I hoped, it kind of sets a baseline, and we can then take this car off, get it tuned properly, come back, and then see what it runs then. And also when it's on the dyno, it'll be interesting to see what is it chucking out as it stands versus what can it chuck out after the dyno guy works his magic. The dyno technician, I don't know what that term it is. A dynocologist? Now the aim of this thing was never to be a quarter-mile demon. It's to be, you know, a quick daily driver. But it got me thinking on the way home, what could be the issue? And definitely part of it is the tuning, the ignition timing. I'm not an expert, it's conservative. That's going to make the car a bit slower until it's tuned properly. But there was one other thing which I'm fairly sure was responsible, and it's the wastegate actuator. On half throttle, this car comes on boost really strongly and accelerates really quick. I've estimated through video footage it can do 0 to 100 in about 6.2 seconds at half to sort of 60% throttle. On the time slip, as you saw at full throttle of drags, it was doing like 7.5 or 7.6 or something. It was a lot slower. Why? Well, if the spring on that wastegate actuator is not strong enough or not adjusted correctly, I reckon when I was punching the throttle on this thing, all this exhaust flowing in through the manifold to the wastegate, like into the turbo past the wastegate, was probably pushing that gate open, and it was all just rushing out through the exhaust, which is making the turbo spool up slower, causing it to be lazy coming on boost. And I've actually stripped everything down here and had a look at it. And yes, I could actually pull on the rod that opened the flapper, and it didn't take a lot of force to do it. So I have now adjusted that rod. You basically make the rod shorter so that it's pulling that wastegate shut tighter, and it's actually got a bit of preload on there that it didn't have before. So I guess I've got to get this all back together. I've got some changes to my tune as well, which I'll load up, and then maybe we'll finish the video off with a bit of a road test just to see if anything's happened or improved. Fun and games. To give you an idea what I'm banging on about, have a look at this dash footage of, I think it was the second run. See when I take off, have a look at how slowly the boost down the bottom corner there is building. I think by about 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, it's safe to assume that you should be at least the full 6 pounds of boost. But my setup is struggling to handle that and to even get it there before we shift into second. So that really shows you that, hey, there is a problem. You know, all of the exhaust which is coming out of this engine towards the turbo is not actually spinning the turbo. That's why I've got a good feeling that, yeah, this simple little change or tweak should pay dividends when it comes to, yeah, how quickly this car spools up. I was actually having a look at Scotty's garage. He was doing that 12s for 2K challenge. The first time he took his AU to the drags, I think he also ended up with like a 16 or 15 second pass. So yeah, it's kind of, I'm not alone, I suppose. Okay, we're pretty much done here, apart from the intake piping. Just got to duck down to my local parts store, get some coolant. Everything else under here looks really good. My new power steering line looks perfect. It's just the mystery of the missing boost. Hopefully we've solved it. We are out in the AU Fairmont Turbo, and I've got to say, adjusting that actuator rod has made a huge difference. This thing really comes on boost quite strongly now. I didn't see what throttle percentage I had then, but on partial throttle, it can easily start building boost in places where it didn't do it before. I reckon, I haven't driven the car much, but I reckon we've solved the problem. It was that wastegate actuator bleeding off all that exhaust pressure which we needed to spin the turbo and build boost. This thing was a real slug off the line, and I couldn't understand on the night what was happening. But yeah, on the drive home, I think I've worked it out, and I think now I've fixed it. So we've got a bit of a motorway here. I haven't driven this one very much, so hopefully there'll be a spot where we can pull over, and then you do a bit of a run. It's so responsive though. The tiniest bit of throttle and it's just off. I've said that before, but it's me not knowing how good it could have been. Oh, it is a big difference. So one thing I need to keep an eye on is what boost level this car's actually hitting. I might just back off the duty cycle on that wastegate actuator a little bit. Let's back it off by like 20%. It just means that if you back it off too far, you may not hit your boost target properly, but it's better to do that than to overboost. So I just want to be a little bit conservative with that. So I'm not going to give it the full 100% throttle on this first run because I just want to do a bit of testing, but we'll see how it handles it. Gearbox wasn't very happy on this 2-3 shift. So we did 7.4 seconds 0 to 100, so that is an improvement. We didn't hit 6 pounds of boost, so I might put those duty figures on the duty cycle figures on the actuator back to where they were, just to give it a bit more beans, I suppose you'd call it. Sounding so much better. It just comes on boost a lot sooner and everything is just better. So Draggy's ready to go. We'll give this another shot, aircon off. And let's see if we can stall it up a little bit too. Two-three shift is not happy, but we already got to 100, so it doesn't really matter. The more I drive this car, the more I think the gearbox either needs a rebuild or an adjustment. I think it's the issue, it is out of adjustment. 7.39. So look, we have got some gains, but yeah, I think it must come back to, you know, we do need to get it tuned properly. I have no doubt this car could get into the 6s, but yeah, it's just my ignition map I think is a bit conservative. We need someone professional to look at it. But considering I've done this all myself, I can't forget this point. You know, I've gotten everything to this point is pretty much me. And I'm not a professional. So that'll be the next step. I don't think there's any point in taking it back to the drags until we get somebody to tune it properly. So if you enjoyed the video, look, it's not the video that I was hoping to bring to you, but this is the realities of doing something like this, trying to do it yourself. You're not always going to get there on the first go. So if you enjoyed the video, if you want to see more of this car, it's very important that you subscribe, like the video, drop your comment below. This all helps the YouTube algorithm push this video out to more people. And yeah, there will be some more videos ahead, especially the dyno tune. It'll be interesting to know, what does it push out now? What can it push out with the tune? And again, we're only on 6 or 7 pounds of boost, so we can definitely go a little bit higher on this engine. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.